Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 of a Best of 5. It's the wild card play-in match for the International 3. $2.8 million at stake. Not for this match, but for the tournament. I'm LD.
I'm Luminous.
And we're going to hop into Game 2. It's Quantic versus Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake leading the Best of 5 1-0 in a bit of a surprise, but they've done it, Lumi. They've done it. And we did talk about this in our analysis before Game 1, is when you play against Quantic, they're so good at these niche heroes that you're very tempted to ban them. The Triant, OD, not so much of a niche hero, but heroes that aren't necessarily considered your standard top-tier picks. And what happens is you let through a Bat Rider, which they dealt with last game, but can they deal with Wisp? This one is a total game changer.
As of 2 months ago, Chinese have not learned to play against Wisp. Wisp is one of those heroes that just kind of warps the state of the game, and now they're getting Wisp CK'd. We're going to Game 3, guys. Let's just shut down the stream for a bit.
It's okay, guys. So the series will resume in about, I'd say this will go 30 minutes between draft and the in game.
Okay, yeah, 30 minutes sounds good.
And we'll come back for Game 3. It'll be reset. The best of 5 will go to a best of 3. The series will be tied 1-1. For those of you who are new to Dota, the reason that we're saying this, and we're kidding, of course, but CK Wisp is a very strong combo, and it's something that traditionally, and even recently, the Asian teams, particularly the Chinese ones, have not found a solution to. Hell, most of the Western teams haven't. The solution to Wisp has normally been to ban the hero. Now Rattlesnake give it away. What do they have in mind here, Lumi? How are they going to contest this?
Well, they're picking some decent team fight, some decent laning, and some decent kind of burst damage heroes. So those are all pretty good against Wisps. But Wisp, I think, or EO, or IO as he's called right now, I think one of his strongest strengths is to kind of warp the game. Because you're not playing standard with split push or with team fight. You're playing, we're under the gun, we're the ducks, you have the shotgun, and you're shooting at us wherever you go. Because now, with Nature's Prophet on top, no matter where you are on the map, if you don't have 4 or 5 waiting to counter gank for you, you're actually dead. And you're never going to have 4 or 5 to waiting to counter gank for you.
You know, it's like playing Mario Kart or playing a racing game, except there's just these random warps and dead ends and weird corridors. You don't get to play a normal game. You don't get to play a standard game. It's like all of a sudden you just want to race around the track, and the other team puts up huge roadblocks. They divert you on the crazy, creepy back streets, and the next thing you know, well, you're getting beaten down by an army of angry knights, Chaos Knights as they were.
And to be completely honest, I think Wisp Chaos Knight is a very powerful dual lane in the laning stage. If you have, I mean, even Darkseer, if he missteps a little bit, you get stunned by that tether, you get stunned by that reality chaos bow combo, you're in big trouble. But Rattlesnake picks a hero that we have not seen.
Now, remember, let's go back 3 or 4 months and sort of look at the history of how we've come to this point with Wisp and how teams thought they could deal with them. The rap on Wisp was initially that it's not the strongest laning hero, it's not that good against 5-man strategies, and if you can get an early BKB on your cores, you can just 5-man straight down the enemy's throat, and if they don't split push you fast enough, well, then you're potentially trouble. Quantic will now pick up a Keeper of the Light, so they secure some counter push. Their lanes still look decent, maybe a little bit weak, but they have good counter push. They've got great split push with Chaos Knight EO as well as Nature's Prophet. Can Rattlesnake 5-man straight down their throat? Or will they be halted and then picked off?
You can't do it against Keeper. You can't do it against Nature's Prophet. I mean, in theory you can. It's just that it will take you such a long time in between Illuminates, Blinding Lights, Wrath of Nature that you are going to start losing your outer towers. So I'm actually looking at this Tidehunter pick and kind of scratching my head a little bit because generally in the past, if you want a big AoE ultimate, people are preferring Magnus because not only does he give you that big AoE ultimate, he gives your carry some decent late game with Empower farming as well.
Right.
He gives you some counter defense or counter push with the shockwave and all that stuff. What Tidehunter does not, or what Tidehunter does give you is Kraken Shell. And when you're getting chased and bounced around like a ping pong ball by the Wisp and CK, you could still press V and jam that Ravage out because you have Kraken Shell. So I'm guessing this is our solo mid. I don't think this is our support Tide, but who knows?
Yeah, I guess the most obvious way to lane it would be a Tide mid, or if they think Prophet's going to be in a lane, they could match up the Tide 1v1 against him. But probably you want the Darkseer there. Probably a Tide mid, Darkseer 1v1 against the Prophet, and then some sort of tri-lane featuring Nyx Gyro +1. But if they tri-lane, they tri-lane into a Keeper of the Light. So do they actually want to do that? Or if you're Rattlesnake, do you just dodge? Generally, teams say once Fluff and stuff I think was quoted as saying once Wisp gets to level 6, the game's over.
Game's over.
So
he said it right.
If you don't contest the Wisp gets to level 6. Do you contest here? That's the question.
They do have a really good offensive trialing hero, Gyrocopter, right? This is a hero that could get next to you and do a ton of burst damage. What I'm worried about is, like you said, you're trialing against a Wisp. There's a lot of sustain in this particular trialing. I think Wisp, you know, he has 0 armor starting. He's very easy to burst down. But if you don't actually kill him with Chakra Magic and Tether, everybody's full mana. You could just Tango and Tether, and everybody's at, you know, in theory at 4 HP.
Yeah, this Chaos Knight can go pretty much straight for the big damage items. The treads, the BKB, well, not damage, but the items let him fight right away.
And maybe a drum in between.
If he wants the drums, doesn't really need them for the mana pool, because like you said, he's got the Tether, he's got the Chakra Magic as well. Now Rattlesnake will ban out a Lifestealer. So they remove a strong hero, a versatile laning hero, also a hero that they're not really equipped to deal with. They have nothing that goes through BKB as far as stuns go. And frankly now, they need a support, it looks like. Could be a support Tide, but if you run support Tide and support Nyx, you're basically forfeiting any chance of winning the lanes.
Yeah, I think they're running a Tide as a carry, predominantly for the Kraken shot I talked about earlier. And also, the big difference between Tidehunter and Magnus is that Tidehunter gives you damage on his Ravage. Magnus, what, 50 damage at level 1 on his RP? Tidehunter, respectively, 150, I believe. No, 200 damage at level 1. So they are going to run that Tide solo mid. And the damage output, the burst damage, is actually very important against Wisp. He relocates in, maybe even Prophet joins in. Chaos Knight is always there, obviously. You just Ravage, you Gush, you Anchor Smash, and that Wisp should be dead. Or maybe you throw another nuke on him.
Not just the Wisp, but even Chaos Knight. His illusions, until he has BKB, you get a Ravage off, it's decent AoE damage, and then you Anchor Smash them as well. They're not hitting as hard, and they might just die to the combo flat out.
Minus 40% base damage, right?
Yeah, you remove the Wisp from the equation, you remove the Chaos Knight, and or at least his illusions, fight's probably over. So Rattlesnake, well, if anything could beat a Wisp, maybe this is it. A hero that's guaranteed to get off a strong AoE ult, a good 5-man lineup. You've got your Mech Buyer in the Darkseer, the BKB carry who can 5-man in the Gyro. If there was ever a draft that could beat Wisp, maybe this is it. But is there a draft that can beat Wisp? That's what we're going to find out. That will be the story of this game. For better or for worse, the die has been cast. Rattlesnake, they've given away Wisp, and now they're going to try and show us how to beat it.
Kabu is their 4 player, or support player generally.
That's right.
He's playing the Tidehunter, so...
I do want to mention, back, I believe it was for eHome at the International 2, this guy played almost exclusively Tidehunter.
Okay.
So he was playing the 3 role for that team. It is possible he could be playing that 3 role here today.
Well, unless there's some swappy action. He's buying the wards, so he's definitely not playing the 3. So we're going to see a support Tide.
It puts Lamb on the mid Nyx Assassin. Okay, so we won't get both of these heroes as supports. We get a Nyx Assassin mid.
Okay. I mean, we haven't seen support Tide for the longest time, and generally support Tides, I think in current metagame, will have a difficulty time hitting a level 6. And you need that level 6 ASAP, so I'm not really sure
Of course, you look at Quantic's draft, though, if you're Rattlesnake, and you pretty much know Quantic doesn't want to go aggressive. They want to sit back in their safe lane, get level 6 on the Wisp, farm the early mech on the Keeper of the Light, get the Chaos Knight up to level 8 or 9, so you know they're not going aggressive. And knowing that, Rattlesnake, they could contest, or they could just say, we'll get a level 6 on our Tide, but this is where your Nature's Prophet could be the X factor, because we've seen, over the past month or two, teams have really evolved the way they play Nature's Prophet. It used to be you'd just start him in the jungle, or you'd run him in a 1v1 matchup. You try and use your Trance to pull the wave. Nowadays, we don't normally see that. We see Trance just blocking the camp, standing on the magic bush, doing everything to slow down the enemy supports from getting levels. And if you look at Rattlesnake, they don't have anyone who can really do that. The Darkseer, sure, he can contest, but he's not going to stop them from getting off some pulls. So overall, I think the Nature's Prophet is possibly the most important hero for Quantic in the laning stage.
I really agree. I mean,
and before we talk too much more about that,
I see. One reality.
He's already taken Ion Shell. It could have possibly been our first blood, but it won't come to pass. Lumi, we've got to introduce the teams real quickly. Quantic on the dire side, your French-Russian mix. Never thought I'd see the day when those two nationalities would align, but here we are. Silent on the Wisp, normally the carry player, but he is the Wisp player for this team. Goblek, the support Keeper of the Light. Sakshka, your carry Chaos Knight. Funzi, the solo mid Puck. To the off lane, we've got effing Mad, starting with the Basilius, the Clarities, and already the shenanigans begin. And then on the Radiant side, leading 1-0 in the best of 5, we have Rattlesnake. Sagem on the Bane. He's trapped the Trant, and he wants to kill it, but he won't get off the early camp spawn. It will be blocked. Kabu, your Tidehunter. We have Luo playing the Gyrocopter. That leaves us with Lamb on the solo mid Nyx, and then the jungler, the offlaner, Icy on the Darkseer.
Yeah, and Lamb's already having some sort of issue on the mid lane. Mana burn against Puck is somewhat annoying to deal with, but I think Puck eventually is going to have basically the range hero advantage here. And
he was pulled as well. Funzi starting with the pull advantage. He's got 2 sets of regen from Funnick, and like you said, he's still a ranged hero. 63 damage, Puck, his right clicks used to be a bit of a pea shooter, a bit underwhelming, but if you pull him, and with, I think it was a +6 damage buff he got a few patches ago, he starts to hurt.
Yeah.
And for a hero like Lamb, sure, you've got 4 armor, but he's not starting with the stout shield. And Lamb, early bottle for him. But Lamb's not expected to win this lane. His goal is to get level 6 and just try and find some kills.
Yeah, either find some kills or prevent Funzy from leaving the lane so he could get kills. If you mana burn Funzy all day long, he's not going to have the mana to make those big plays somewhere else on the map, and maybe that's what they're going for. You can see that Nature's Prophet is blocking camps. Finally, the first pull goes off here from Neo, but at that time, if you're looking on the other side of the map, we have a double stack pull going on Go Black, and now we do see the Wisp trying to get another stack pull. Unfortunately, I think they have mistimed that a tiny bit.
Well, we'll see if Silent just wants to stack this one now. He's not heading towards it. It'll be Godblack who does that? Yep, he's heading in now. So they'll get off another stack. And already this is what we talked about with the Nature's Prophet really being the most important here for Quantic in the laning stage. Already Keeper of the Light is 2. The Wisp is 2 as well. And you've got a Tidehunter only level 1. Has barely seen a creep yet. This is the X factor. This is the difference. The Prophet can stop the enemy heroes from getting levels. The Darkseer, afraid of getting killed off early, is jungling. He's not slowing down the enemy supports.
Funzy perhaps got to be careful on the mid lane here because an Impale and Mana Burn, a Gush, a couple more right clicks, they may actually get the kill, depending on how the chain stun is, depending whether Funzy throws that orb as a farm, which he does right now, so...
It's a level 1 Tide. What can they really do?
I mean, minus armor is minus armor. If the Impale lands...
This is where it also becomes very important that Phase Shift doesn't cost mana. It actually used to, but well, they'll go in now. Gush. They get the Impale. He still has an orb. He's got a Phase Shift. He gets mana burn. He can't orb. It is enough. No, it's not. Yes, it is.
Level 1 Tidehunter. I'm telling you, it's legit. Minus armor on the Gush.
Wow. Made the difference there. And the mana burn preventing him from orbing out. Fantastic gank by Rattlesnake.
Yeah, he also orbed to harass and get creep skills.
You run a Puck mid and you pull him against a Nyx, you expect not only to not die, but to dominate that lane.
Yeah, unfortunately did not see a Tidehunter kind of, you know, getting the Invis rune bot, and you expect the Tidehunter to be pulling in the jungle. So that was a little bit unfortunate for Funzy, and Lamb definitely very happy.
And it's worth mentioning there's a reason why they didn't have vision there. They're running a defensive tri-lane. Their lineup was not really that good at contesting at level 1, so they didn't. Oftentimes when you see teams want to try to slow down the enemy supports, they'll 5-man down the bottom lane if they're on the dire side early on, and they'll ward off the enemy jungle camps, or they'll at least get some rune vision. But running the defensive tri-lane, they never did that, so they didn't have vision. Otherwise, that gank probably doesn't work.
Yeah. So now you can see that Funzy has, or Effing Matt on the long lane has left the jungle with his treants and had now gone back to his own jungle and started farming there. But he's only level 1, and really he's not slowing down. I mean, Bane is level 3 at 3.5 minutes in. That's not too bad. Tidehunter's also level 3 because he found the kill in the mid lane. So all things considered, I think Rattlesnake has the early game surprisingly well. But of course, we're not talking about the Wisp yet.
I think it was all about the early gank there. Without the gank, I would have given Quantic the edge in the laning stage, simply because Wisp isn't being contested, and they're slowing down the Tide level 6. Though, sure, the tides have turned, if you will, a little bit there, Lumi, but nonetheless, you still have a Wisp who's probably going to hit level 6 in a reasonably timely fashion. They've got a pretty big stack of creeps here for the Keeper of the Light to farm. They'll continue to pull. Maybe Silent hits level 6 by like 8 to 9 minutes. And the question is, will Rattlesnake be ready to 5-man by then? Because if not, the relocate ganks start coming.
Well, right now, I think I like what Rattlesnake is doing. They're pushing with the siege unit, and you can see the Bane's on the right side. He's already expecting a rotation coming in to slow down this push. Some teams like to do it with the Keeper. Some teams like to do it with the Nature's Prophet. No rotation being made right now. And if Rattlesnake says, if we get this free tower, we'll be happy.
Godblack, he wants to counter push. Normally you TP into the tier 2,
there.
but he's blocked off. There is no way for Godblack to get into this bottom lane. The tower's going to drop here. It's just a question of if there's any contest available. Godblack now marching up, but lurking in the wings is Sagam.
Illuminate.
He's got to sleep. Illuminate's being charged. It's not going to connect on anything. Now Sagam giving chase, but Godblack with the early boots, able to juke and jive and dodge away. Still, the tier 1 falls early. I really liked the way they used wards and the Bane's positioning. Because without that, I think Godblack just walks into the lane and he stops the push dead in its tracks.
Well, I mean, the good thing about this push that Rattlesnake has successfully pulled off is that normally when you make a push like that, sure you get the tower, but Quantic Hero gets like level 2 and 3. But Nature's Prophet only got a single level, and he's really getting it after the tower went down. And to be honest, Goldblack has got no level since the rotation. So I think the push for Rattlesnake was very clean. They didn't give away too much. And I don't think they got the last hit on the tower, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But all things considered, Rattlesnake doing quite well. Gyrocopter, to me, I think he's got to go the black bill from Malsport. Get a helm. Get your armor up, get a BKB, and then just try to kind of out-tank that Wisp.
So you want to see him go off for a Helm of the Dominator before the BKB?
I think you go Ogre Club for the HP, back to the Helm, and then back to the BKB. If you think you're doing well. If you don't think you're doing well, you go BKB rush.
He definitely, one thing we know for sure, he needs a BKB and he needs it as quickly as possible. Exactly, he's farming well right now, but pretty much every single hero on Quantic destroys heroes that don't have BKBs.
Oh, top lane here, Lamb vendetta up with the haster, and he's looking for some kills. If you
he
can
pop
find Wisp.
this Wisp.
Yeah, Wisp is level 4, and he's, remember, he has 0 armor. So
they had a ward here. They saw the rune getting picked up. They should know that Lamb's on the hunt.
Yeah, but he's moving very fast. Vendetta.
Effing Mad might go down. But honestly, I think losing your Nature's Prophet is a more acceptable loss. And in the end, the Vendetta wears off. He probably doesn't have to burst to get this kill. Effing Mad.
I would have impelled the Treants and the level 1 creeps, to be honest. Just slow down his farm.
Get some farm.
Yeah, slow down his farm more importantly. But Funzy now, kind of zoning Lamb out of lane.
So if we look at Rattlesnake, the building blocks for them to 5-man are to get a BKB on the Gyrocopter. The Nyx already has his levels. He'll have enough. Maybe a Blink Dagger on him. Your level 6 on Kabu, which is coming pretty soon. And a mech on Icy. And that's the one thing that they're very far away from now. Icy probably a good 5 to 6 minutes from securing a mech. But once they have those items, maybe the 13 to 15 minute mark, that's where we would expect Rattlesnake to just start 5-manning at the enemy towers. And the question is, will Quantic be able to split push fast enough and stall long enough to delay that push, to force Rattlesnake back, and then to then find Relocate Gang?
Yeah, I think Rattlesnake, judging from the item choices that Luo's purchasing right now, they're looking for some early game team fights. He's going for drums. Nice HP for the CK Wisp combo, but more importantly, some chasing power, some more DPS power. So I think the 5-man is going to be coming fast and hard. But LD, do you think this is the correct choice to delay your BKB and go for more of an earlier to mid-game item?
I think it's fine. It's like you said, getting the Ogre Club early. Just getting some HP really helps. Prophet will TP into the bottom lane. Luo dropping a call down just to try and zone some heroes off. I think it's okay to get the early HP. Ultimately, it does let you fight now, but if you're going for the drums, you want to keep on fighting. Keep on pushing. Keep the pressure up. If you just want to go for the strongest mid-game timing push, then yeah, you go BKB. But on the backside, Lamb's come in. He's found the initiation. The Impale goes off. Clips 2. He'll go down, but it's a 2-for-1 special.
Uh-oh, but here comes the CA. He's going to go on Sagang. Sagang already a 2-second stun. He also gets picked up.
Chase for combo here. No mana on Sakshka, so scratch that thought. And an early TP forced out from the Chaos Knight. Not ideal 2-for-2.
More XP for the Wisp. He's happy. He's already 5. He's going to hit 6 up top.
Well, if you're Icy now, you saw that TP. You go hard on this Wisp.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's going to go hard on the EXP.
He's going hard on the creeps.
Yeah, he needs that EXP. And Wisp is, somewhat zoning him out, I guess.
Headdress actually up on Icy. It looks like I missed an item there. So he's closer to the mech than what I thought. But overall, I think that's pretty good for Rattlesnake, forcing the Chaos Knight to move around. Sure, we talked about how strong Chaos Knight Wisp is, but it's not as though Chaos Knight can walk around with basic boots and have an impact. He does need some items.
Right.
In the mid-game, he needs a BKB very badly. He needs, some items after that, perhaps the armlet, the drums, or those first and then into the BKB. So forcing Sakshka to move around, it delays his farm.
Surge with Iron Shell, but look at the Wisp. Goes on the other side.
Nope. Tether stun's there. Lamb out of tower vision.
So close, both sides.
I heard you just sucking in your breath with bated breath. We thought he might go down there, but just able to get out of tower.
I mean, if you get a kill on Silent right there, he prevents level 6. But if the Nyx Assassin dies right there, Silent hits level 6. So.
And then he probably goes bottom directly after that. They kill Luo, and the game could start to fall apart for Rattlesnake.
But for now, I think the big thing for me to point out is that TIE Hunter hits level 6.
Very fast.
Yeah, used to be that when you have a support Tide on the pro games, it's always a race to level 6. Who hits at 6 a little bit quicker? Now, TIE Hunter's not the big boogeyman anymore. It's Wisp in this game at least, but he is 6 now. He has a teleport scroll. He has an urn.
There were games in the International too, in the group stages at least. I don't remember if there are any main stage games, where Kabu didn't hit level 6 on Tide Hunter until like 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
And that was as a 3 position, as an offlaner who was designed to get maybe a little bit more farm. This is big to hit it that fast. Now they smoke up. They head into the bottom lane. Rattlesnake grouped up as a unit of 4. It's only Icy who's not here yet. No mech for him yet. Is it coming on the courier? No buckler there.
Whatever gank they want to do right now, they got to recognize that. On the top lane, Silent. Ding, ding, ding. 10-15.
You got to hold the Ravager. You need to Ravage after the relocate comes. If you blow it before they jump in,
Impale.
They'll go now. Call downstairs. The Impale lives. The Illuminate's going to connect. Eclipse 2. Relocates on the mark. The Ravage is there right away, but it's the follow-up in place. Sakshka low. Not dead yet. The Wisp slept and is alive for the time being. Sakshka's going hard. He jumps in. 4 seconds done. Down goes the gyro. It's all coming apart at the seams here for Rattlesnake. The 3-hero Illuminate. The Mist Impale. Everything going wrong. The call down hitting Zilch. Sagam able to TP out. But that first 5-man fight not working. Wasn't well executed. Could cost them dearly. They'll lose Kabu as well. 3 for nothing there.
Okay, I just want to point out that the entire Rattlesnake team was absolutely prepared, minus the Darkseer. Every 4 member were completely realizing that the Wisp was coming in. Unfortunately, Lamb stood under the teleport and died to the balls. Back at the top lane here, it's a 3-second stun. The ball's in his face. Silent now hits level 7.
Oy, oy, oy.
And that's why this hero is always banned out, because he just snowballs hard. It's hard to gank him early because header to escape. We saw the gank escaping from Lamb. And to be completely honest, once they realize that Wisp has level 6, you cannot get near. You cannot pick fight near tier 2 towers. Unfortunately, Quantic took a fight, and it goes back to what we said during the draft.
Well, if you're gonna pick the fight, you better damn well hit their spells.
Right.
They missed the cooldown, they missed the impale, and that completely sealed their fate. They do pick off Sakshka. Nice kill on him.
Pick off.
Important pick off there. Now Kabu. The thing is, no Ravage, and Ravage does have quite a long cooldown as far as some ults go. And can Rattlesnake actually fight right now? There's no mech yet. It's still not online. They need about 700 gold for this. And there's no Ravage. CK is dead for 15 seconds, but when he gets close to respawning, you'd better be back at your tower or sitting as 5 away from there, else you get relocated.
They're so close to death right now. Funzy is just hunting them with the Invis Ring. They have about 8 seconds to get back to their tower, and they're not moving that direction.
Or Pits on 2. Is he going to jump into this one? He's not.
Oh, man, they could have.
Well, it's a little bit dangerous. At the same time, as good as Quantic is at counter-initiating, you don't actually want to jump into Rattlesnake. If Call Down and Impale hit multiple heroes, even without Ravage, that could easily be a teamfight one. So I think in the end, a smart call there not to force it. Chaos Knight Wisp are back online.
Well,
Ogre Club up for Sakshka. The BKB is starting to get closer, Lumi, and that's a problem for Rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake right now would relocate up, and Ravage down is making a smoke gank into the enemy jungle.
This better work.
This would not work unless they have Ravage on cooldown.
Well, they could get the pick off here, though. Vendetta into a quick impale, and then if Quantic try to fight, it could be very bad for them. They've got 5 close at hand, no relocate.
Well, they gotta careful.
A surgical pick off, but an Illuminate being channeled.
On 3.
Look, Coil's there, only catches 1. Lamb even able to use the Carapace to bounce back the stun the other direction. Lua, though, caught by the relocate. The Ravage comes too late. They've already lost Gyro. Silence low. The Impale clips too, but now it's where Sakshka gets to be the big bad knight. He's chopped off 1 head. He wants some more. He's going on Icy. A 4-second stuns there, but without his Wisp in tow, might be forced back. Sagam trapped on the cliff. He got blinding lighted up here in the midst of the chaos, it looks like. And
oh, no.
Still Sakshka's going in. He's got a stun. Icy, 4 seconds. Down he goes, even without the Wisp. If it's a chaotic fight, it's a Quantic fight.
Yeah, it really is. And the fight's not over yet. They pick up yet another. That is the Nyx Assassin being caught up by effing Mad, as well as Funzy. The 2 tag team combo. And guess what? Funzy up to that Blink Dagger.
He's still here. Poor Sagam is still trapped.
Oh, they see him.
And I think Sakshka knows. They're just slowly blinking away at him. This is actually a team wipe. This is 5 heroes dead. Sagam, he's got 90 gold here.
Right. He spent it.
He spent whatever he had.
He had a 600 and he bought a bracer.
I do want to point out, I think Rattlesnake are making quite a few crucial mistakes. You mentioned smoke ganking without Ravage. Then they continued to go for more after they got the initial kill. But the other big thing is they're fighting without mech. Icy is very close. 700 gold now. He pretty much had it in the midst of that fight. And it's also a late mech. We're 14 minutes in and he started in the jungle. Darkseer should have his mech by now. He doesn't, and I feel for those reasons, they're really struggling.
Yeah, going international, the biggest question for me is, and I'm not talking just about this game, but the entirety of the tournament is, have Chinese learned about Wisp? Have they, I mean, they got definitely been thrashed by a couple of times, but as a, I guess, a couple of groups of pro teams, have they know how this hero work? Have they know how to beat it or play around it? Judging from these ganks so far, it seems at the very least that Rattlesnake have not. And they're getting punished heavily.
How many more lessons do they need? You know, it's like, this is if you're a teacher and the student keeps on coming to remedial class, he keeps on failing the same simple exams, you give him the lesson 500 different ways and still he's stubborn. He refuses to learn. The Chinese, so far, they don't want to learn the lesson. I do feel, though, that if Rattlesnake had executed their laning stage, well, not their laning stage, but those first few group ups correctly,
yeah,
this game could be going very well for them. We have to go back to this fight bottom. The Impale whiffed, the calldown didn't hit anything, and they got hit by a 3-hero Illuminate, and on top of that, they were fighting without Darkseer, and they didn't have a mech. Then they went for another smoke gank with no Ravage, with no mech. You can beat Wisp, it's just so hard to do it, and if you start to fall apart, if you lose those first few fights,
it gets so much harder.
It's like ice climbing without an ice pick.
Yeah.
Good luck scaling that wall.
I mean, again, I like their idea with the Tide, and it's the burst damage kill the Wisp every single time. But the problem is not the Wisp, it's the who Wisp brings in. And now Funzy will find a 2-man Dreamcoil if he wants to go right there. It relocates back up, but Tai is here, and Tai definitely does have the Ravage this time. They do find Nature's Prophet on the right side, and they do pick him off. So that's a very nice, clean pick and they just, you know, at the very safety of their tower, they're not in the enemy jungle, they're not in front of a tier 2, and that's the fights that you want to take against a team.
Where's Midas reminder? Well, he's got the buckler, but Midas is on cooldown. Very inefficient death there. I'm kidding, of course. But they get the kill on the Prophet, and I think the big thing, though, is Chaos Knight's not dying, and here comes the BKB. Now you really have to get the Fiend's grip right on him or chain stun him. If he gets off BKB, you're in a lot of trouble in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Enfeeble by itself is enough. Sure, you're, you know, minus 60 damage.
You've still got your Phantasm Illusions as well.
It's Phantasm Illusion. It's those 4-second stun. I mean, Chaos Knight stun hurts, and it hurts really strong, so... Hurts really
strong.
Hurts really bad, hurts really strong.
Hurts really good. Who knows, but it hurts. We know that much.
Yeah.
So now the BKB's up on Sakshka. So far, the Quantic start to pull ahead in terms of farm, and it's just they have a great lineup to use the map better than Rattlesnake. They can go anywhere. They can farm as individuals, knowing that there's always the threat of a relocate gank to keep Rattlesnake on the defensive. Prophet can split push effectively. He can farm the jungle. You've got your Keeper of the Light who can stack and farm neutrals. They just use the map more efficiently because of their lineup and because of their ability to farm. And so Rattlesnake, they have to 5-man now, but when they're 5-manning, they're getting out-farmed. And this is where you start to feel a little bit claustrophobic if you're on Rattlesnake or a fan of the team.
I completely agree. I think Quantic, ironically, even with having Wisp PK, you have the ability to take the game a little bit slower now. You have Nature's Prophet who, you know, accelerates very rapidly when he hits level 11, having that second level Wrath of Nature. You have the Midas continually running. And of course, the more important thing is that you know the enemy team won't be farming as well, because you see these supports are all constantly grouping up, trying to protect somebody, because if you don't have those protection units running around, they're dead. They do see Quantic Shocks kind of running left and right, and Icy force to TP out. That's what we mean. They cannot farm by themselves. At least not in the open. So Rattlesnake, as this game goes on longer and longer, they will get out farmed.
It's not just the heroes, it's not just the draft though, it is also the execution for Quantic, and a lot of it comes down to having good vision up. When you're playing as CK Wisp, you want to know where the enemy team is. You want to know if they're off the map so you can be prepared for a 5-man smoke gang, and so you can find relocate gangs, and they've done a nice job of keeping vision up so far through the mid game. Still, you look at Rattlesnake, they've got, I'd say, a couple of good 5-man engagements in them. The BKB is up on Gyrocopter now. You have your Blink Dagger and Lamb, but you got to start taking fights. If you just sit back and allow Quantic to continue to farm, eventually this CK gets to the point where he can solo your entire team.
Yeah.
Maybe even without the Wisp.
I mean, they're going to bait Icy now, and baiting a CK Wisp ultimate with a 4-man smoke behind, it might work against a lesser experienced Wisp team, but I'm pretty sure that Quantic have played this multiple times.
Let's actually look at the vision right now, because if you just look at the map for Quantic, there's 5 heroes off the map, except for Icy pushing top. What are the chances of him being on his own?
And guess what? Quantic says, yeah, sure, you could do a 5-man bait.
They saw the Darkseer top. They knew that Rattlesnake were behind them, so they go straight into the pit. Easy Roche.
Unfortunately, there's no sight coming out here from Rattlesnake.
If they do get caught in the pit, though, if Rattlesnake get here in time, I don't know if they will, but this will be an amazing place for Rattlesnake to fight.
They're getting there. They don't have enough damage, but the Tier 1 tower's alive, so, like, what are you going to do, run past the Tier 1?
It's going to be too late, I feel. Roshan dropping quickly. Quantic, once they get this Aegis, it'll be a bad fight. And Rattlesnake not even in position.
Yeah. This Tier 1...
Just great game sense from Quantic. They saw the Darkseer top, and it's not what you... Oh, they blink in. They'll silence an illusion here. It's not... Sometimes it's not what you see on the map. It's what you don't see. And they didn't see 4 heroes. They only saw Darkseer top. They knew that Rattlesnake were there. They take an easy Roche.
Yep. And,
great play.
Well, what does Rattlesnake do now? They're farming quite inefficiently, farming as 3 or 4 or 5. The thing that we haven't really talked about, we said BKB is very important, but let's kind of mention exactly how important it is. Sure, call down goes through it. It doesn't really matter, though, because Reality Shift kind of plays CK wherever he needs to place. Like,
and you've got tether move speed.
Exactly. The more important thing is that it blocks a Ravage. So your big stun, your big AoE ultimate, doesn't do a single damn thing against Chaos Knight. And right now, just like how Luo picked up a BKB on his Shadow Fiend last game and he was, you know, sort of immortal, I think Sok is almost hitting that stage. With BKB drums, he is going to chase down anybody he wants to chase down.
Yeah, and whenever you're up against Chaos Knight, if you want to take it late against this hero, you need massive AoE and to kill off his illusions. Because obviously there's always the main CK hero with BKB, but the illusions are ultimately 3/4 of his damage output in the team fights because they all do the same damage as the main hero. So if you look at Rattlesnake, the AoE starts to feel a bit lacking in the mid game. Sure, they've got a lot of AoE nukes, but you get to a point where the Gyro needs damage items. And where is the Gyro going to find the farm? Luo, 140 CS. He's actually done a nice job of keeping his CS up. Still at around 7 CS a minute, but he's not getting to too many kills. The towers have stopped coming for them. And ultimately, it's where he's going to need an MKB. He'll probably need that next item if we go another 10, 15 minutes. And can he keep up with the CK's farm? Normally, CK's not a great farmer. When he's got Wisp, well, then he is.
Well, Luo right now trying to slowly siege on this tier 1 tower. Glyph comes out, and you got to keep in mind the relocate could be coming anytime.
The mid tower continues to be under pressure. There's a missile coming in. You can easily phase shift dodge this. The tier 2, no, he doesn't phase shift dodge it, but he's saying, come at me, I dare you. I've got CK Wisp on my side, brother. The tier 1 does fall to the Radiant, so Rattlesnake get a tower. They don't last hit it, not ideal for them, but there's still an Aegis up on Sakshka. Quantic, they probably want to take this fight here. No, maybe not. Luo, there you go. Tethered back in. He gets stunned. He can't get off his ultimate or his BKB. Slept for the time being. It's a defensive sleep. He gets off the BKB. It won't even matter. Wall deployed. Sakshka running past it, not partnering up with his Wisp. Silent, hanging on the sidelines, trying to isolate him. There's a big Ravage from Lamb, but where's the damn follow-up? Kraken Shell's there, immediately removes the stun, and it doesn't even matter. The hits keep on coming. Sakshka off with their heads. He's brought them all to the guillotine. Rattlesnake not having too much fun here.
They see Lamb as well. Lamb is on the run, but he's got Blink Dagger, so he should be fine. He's going to get seen here. No, he should be okay.
I really loved Silent's position in that fight. For a second, I was like, wait, why is he not next to the Chaos Knight? But he just sat so far back that there's just no way to go on him. And now he's got an Ogre Club. Soon the Wisp might have a BKB, Lumi. Then what do you do? Then you're really screwed.
So, again, the question remains is, has the Chinese learned enough about this hero? And the reason that you saw the Gyrocopter TPing in first was he felt safe. He said, I have BKB. I could activate it when I see the projectile that CK stun comes in, and I'll be absolutely fine. But what they completely forgot about is that Reality Rift plus Tether is an instant stun. The moment it draws on you, you get stunned.
Yeah, there's just that very slight cast animation.
Right, and Luo was not expecting that, did not pop the BKB.
And once he gets caught, they don't have a Shadow Demon. They have no... You got Bane with his sleep, but...
He was down to like 25%.
The problem is, if Gyro doesn't get off his BKB right away, Chaos Knight just right-clicks him. And you can't run from him because he's got the tether. He's already a pretty fast hero by nature. I believe it's the second highest base move speed in the game after Luna. One of the top few. Very fast hero naturally. Hard to escape from, and even though he got off BKB, just one more hit and he was dead.
Yep.
So now we approach the mid-game, and it's an interesting strategy from Quantic. We see some unusual item pickups, at least on a few heroes. Puck has gone BKB, and so too is going Wisp. She looks like she's headed for a BKB. Could be potentially a Heaven Tower, but here's... Where the hell did they go? I saw them relocate. I didn't see where they went. Well, you blink and you miss it. Lamb bites the dust.
Yeah, and these BKBs are coming up. Necrobook's coming out here from Nature's Prophet as well, so... I think once Wisp hits his BKB, then game gets, I don't want to say impossible, but Dark Surge is not going to do anything, right, with this vacuum wall. Ravage doesn't do a thing, so you have a flat cannon. The flat cannon is the only real source of damage.
This is a P-shooter, though. His damage is
he's got
grossly inadequate.
Or he's got Bracer BKB. He doesn't even have that drum, so...
And you look at Quantic, I mean, who do you focus here? Mass BKBs. Sakshka's, Godblack's the only real squishy one, sitting at 900 health. Silent's got 1400 HP. You can't go on him. You can't go on the CK, who's now got a Reaver. And you better come defend soon, because here comes Quantic. 4 heroes grouped up. Could be 5 if they want to keep effing Matt around. They could come for your high ground soon. For now, though, there is a tier 2 mid, and the safe play is to take that tier 2 and then maybe go for the high ground.
Wisp has a Vlads. All right, that's cool.
That's a good 5-man item.
It is.
Cost efficient, gives you the armor, gives you the damage R as well.
Yeah.
Why not?
Forget the BKB, he says.
And now the flat cannon?
No.
Even more of a pea shooter.
Yep.
What's weaker than a pea shooter?
A slingshot?
Isn't that a lot stronger? It's a pea shooter.
I guess
Shoots peas.
An air gun? Depending how pressurized that
You're going the wrong direction.
I guess so.
I said what's weaker than pea shooter. I actually don't know. It's a corn shooter. I'm not sure.
What is the ultimatum here for Rattlesnake? Do they go Divine on Gyro and just pray?
This is where you pretty much say, we have to get a Divine on Luo. We have to just get an amazing Vac. Ideally, a Vac Ravage before Quantic get off their BKBs. You can't fight them while they have Aegis. You can't really contest Roche #2 because the lanes are pushing in such a way that if you try and go to Roche, Quantic just split push you to death. And if you get caught at the Roche pit and CK kills one, the fight's over. So I think, like you said, you have to go big or go home. Go for a Rapier. Go for just one big team fight. Can they make it work? I would say percentage-wise, it's like a 5 to 10% chance play at best. But I think it's their only chance.
Yeah, I'm with that as well. Let's see what Luo thinks. He's sitting at 3,200 gold, still no real purchase. I mean, he could just get a Demon Edge right now, but I think he's actually saving for buyback. And to me, I say forget the buyback, because if you die and you buy back, you're done. Like, sure, you could maybe defend. Meanwhile, Nyx Assassin picks up a solo kill.
Yeah, Lamb finding Goblik in the mid lane, but might be caught on the TP out. Yep, there's your coil. Now Lamb potentially going to play. There's your relocate as well. They really want this kill, and Lamb, they'll get him. 1 for 1, honestly, it does buy Gyro a bit of time to farm, because now relocate's on cooldown. So I'd say that's not too bad.
It's actually okay. Yeah, that's fine. Because to be completely honest, your Nyx Assassin, once he gets to his Blink Dagger, he's pretty much done in terms of item choices. So Lewis says, thank you, my friend. And he's going on the top lane. Still 3,400 gold, no real item purchase. Drops the call down before he TP's back home.
Now the TP back to the base, up to 3,500. You know he's thinking Rapier right now. If you're going for anything else, there's really no reason to save your gold at this point. Because the build-up is still useful, and like you said, if he has to buy back, I think the game just sort of ends there. Because Sakshka has a heart complete now, coming on the courier. If the Gyro buys back and dies again, or even if he buys back and trades, that means Sakshka is well on his way to his next item, and Gyro still has no progression at all. And he needs to be at least equal with the CK, if not ahead, to take him late game.
Now, the one good thing about what Rattlesnake's got going for them is that Quantic does not see how much gold Luo has. So a Divine could come out of nowhere, and that courier, it's going to Secret Shop.
Again, it's what you haven't seen, though. And I think if you're Luo, you actually keep the Sacred Relic on the courier.
Yeah.
Try and hide the fact you're going Rapier. They're probably going to know anyway, because it's sort of the obvious ploy here. Is he going to go for it?
Is it obvious, though? Yet. A lot of... No, he goes Butterfly. Which I guess it's
okay.
It's good because CK is not a hero that normally gets MKB, but he's so far ahead that he can just get an MKB.
Sure, you're evading 35% of the auto attacks, but how many are actually coming when you've got 4 illusions, all of them slapping away at you? If you get even like 2 crits from those 4 illusions, the Gyro still dies.
Right, and you know, LD, how you said it's the obvious play? I always think it is obvious play, going for Divine when you're so far behind, but no team ever make that play. So maybe
some do. If Korok's playing the Gyro, he goes
well,
Divine.
Team Liquid aside, right?
Liquid will go for it. I mean, you look at a lot of the Asian teams. Well, and now they found their opening. No, they try and jump in. Great defensive blink. Tetherstone wasn't quite there, and now Sakshka, driven back by the missile, enfeebled up. It'll slow down this push, but Quantic will take the tier 2 mid. And I think now they'll back off, they'll wait for Roshan number 2, and then with Roshan number 2, then they'll break this base. If they want to go high ground now, they could. This is a riskier play.
Unnecessary risk.
This is definitely the riskier play. Now they get caught by an Impale. It catches a few. Ravage is available. Called out as well. Ravage not both. Sorry, he did get it off there. Didn't really get the animation. Sakshka in a bit of trouble now. Sakshka trying to duke it out. He's gotten off his BKB. Needs to finish someone. Can't finish Sagam. Can't finish anyone. Gets impaled again. Can he get out in time? He can't. They've done it with the Wombo combo. Quantic go greedy. They don't wait for Roche. Now they lose 2. They could end up losing 3 here. Silent will fall. And it's a disaster. An absolute train wreck of a fight for Quantic. And a brilliant combo from Rattlesnake.
Unnecessary risk. Could just back off. Wait for the Aegis, because there's no way that Rattlesnake will take a fight against you. But the Hail Mary that you pray for, a vacuum into a 5-man Ravage, and that's exactly what we saw. The question is...
And they're not... Oh. Lamb hunting them to the ends of the earth. Can't find a kill.
I mean, the question is, what will Rattlesnake make of this? If you want to go for the Roshan, they don't have enough damage.
The problem is now Luo has a Butterfly. And all of a sudden, his item progression is nearly equal with the Chaos Knight.
Right.
If this actually goes really, really late, I think Rattlesnake will win the fights 5v5. But it's more, does Quantic just find pickoff? So the game will kind of develop in a different track, where before Quantic could win 5-man, they could win split push, and they could pretty much win any pickoff war. But Rattlesnake, maybe now they'll start to get to a point where their 5-man is a little bit intimidating. Gyro now has some damage. You get that next item on Luo, you get a Satanic. You can kill off those Chaos Knight illusions and tank through the initial barrage.
Well, let's not forget what Quantic still has, right? They have complete map control with the global heroes.
That's true.
Keeper of the Light, with Nature's Prophet. They can farm wherever they want to, and Rattlesnake has to be very careful of how they farm. So I think Quantic should outfarm if the game just sits on status quo. You see that Quantic, despite losing a team fight, just waltzes into the Roshan pit, takes up the Aegis now for Chaos Knight. Now he has 2 life, and I don't know if he will die. And also,
ultimately, they are leading by 14k gold, 15k experience with CK Wisp Prophet.
Bane.
You'd think it would be their game for the taking.
He has the haste ring, but is he fast enough?
He barely can run away from this Chaos Knight Wisp. That's how fast they are. Straight down the middle lane. Now they've got an Aegis on Sakshka. So he can die once, come back again, pop his Phantasm, his BKB, and then go to town.
Butterfly is up on Luo, and the big thing to talk about there is no buyback available on Rattlesnake. This could be the very last team fight that Rattlesnake at least have in this game. The big thing that Quantic is also waiting for is a Hex, because it doesn't matter if you have a BKB if you just get Hexed up. You do have a TP back out from Lamb, but at least Strong and Teleport Scroll from our Nature Prophet.
Quantic 31 minutes in, still trying to find that first lane of Rax. It felt a bit easier for Rattlesnake in game number 1. They are now leading the best of 5, 1-0. Quantic still searching for this game 2 victory. And Quantic grouped up in the middle lane. Man, I hate that visual bug. That is super annoying. Sorry about that, guys, but thanks to Purge for fixing that for me. So,
what's the visual bug?
If you hover over the stats, it like leaves it up even when you move your mouse away. Yeah. Hopefully, probably not till the available fix for TI3. So we'll keep an eye on it. But Quantic, Site Device coming soon on FE Man, like you mentioned. They've got an Aegis now for a good 4.5 minutes. This is probably your time to break the base.
Yeah, I agree. But since we have a very kind of small moment that we're pausing for, the big item that I think Quantic is waiting for is their Scythe of Ice on Funzy. Does not matter if you have BKB if you get the Blink Scythe. And I think if the Gyrocopter gets Blink Scythe, keep in mind that the Butterfly evasion will be removed during the duration of that Scythe. So that's a lot of gold going to an item that would not protect you.
And again, you don't have a great counter initiator. You can sleep him if he's not BKB'd. You get that 1 second of invulnerability, but that's it. There's no Shadow Demon. The Ravage is not going to save you because everybody's got a BKB on Quantic who matters at this point.
Right.
Well, it's only 2, but soon it could be 3 or 4. And that's the point where your Ravage almost does nothing. Unless the BKBs run out. So maybe if you're Rattlesnake, you just bait them into blowing their BKBs, then you take the fight.
I do want to mention out there that if you have Silent on your fantasy team, despite being playing so well this game, he has earned you 0 points so far.
Has he really?
Yeah. You're just looking at the fantasy points. Apparently that's 0 points unless this is buggy.
Oh, the
fantasy.
I don't actually have it hotkeyed.
Yeah, it's I think. But apparently Puckus have earned you 5.4 points.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Assists counts for points. That last time I checked.
That's very odd.
That's very odd indeed.
So either way, we're back to a slower pace now. Quantic, I guess they'll work towards their next items here. Seems like they're under no hurry to try and force a fight. They got burned once. They do not want to get burnt again. I mean, the difference now is they've Aegis, though. Last time they didn't. But it's starting to get to that point. The double scythe is coming up.
Yep,
You've got your next item for Sakshka, 2.4k gold. Maybe the armlet's coming now. Well, it's a little bit late to go for one, but whatever he wants, he'll have that in the makings of his next item soon.
Well, that sucks. I'm looking at what Vickerman has told us.
Well,
he's a carry player.
He generally plays the carry role, but he is also their Wisp player.
So when you play the carry and you play Wisp, you don't. Carry does not have I guess you don't earn points by having assists. So his 9 assists right now does not do a damn thing for him.
What the hell? What if
Bobo, please fix, because
assists matter.
Assist does matter.
Bruno, disband, please. Bruno, disband.
I don't think Bruno did. Oh, did Bruno did this?
Probably.
Bruno, I'm disappointed.
Bruno always has a hand in these things.
Yeah. He also had a fan at 4. I'm just saying.
Let's not go there. Yeah, 34 minutes in, your score 18-13. It's about an 18k gold lead for Quantic, an 18k experience lead. They are very far ahead, but they have not managed to break the base of Rattlesnake yet, and slowly but surely, Luo works his way towards his next item. 2.1k gold up. Satanic normally the next item of choice at this point. Maybe an MKB after that, but that's a long ways off right now. The immediate items they have are BKB on their Darkseer, Kabu with a Ghost Scepter up to help ensure he gets off his Ravage in these fights. Rattlesnake just trying to outlast Quantic. It's up to Quantic to make a move. Rattlesnake not leaving their base, slowly but surely getting out farmed, but still hanging on a win and a prayer for that one big Ravage combo.
Right, if we're looking at how the game is actually progressing, since not much, trading and kills or towers happening, if you just look at the goal graph, like it feels inevitable, because even though Rattlesnake is defending their base, they're just getting completely out-farmed. And that goes back to the heroes combination that Quantic has. So if Quantic doesn't push for 60 minutes, they're earning more gold. And
it's like having a Ferrari but no gas to drive it. The Camry's going to get you there faster.
I guess so. That's an interesting analogy, but
it's true.
So
they're not getting any gas. They get no resources off the map, basically. They see a few waves, but Quantic see all 3 lanes and both enemy jungles if they want.
Yep.
They continue to pull ahead.
And this is what they need to do. I like what they're doing. They're buying smoke. They say, we need to leave the base. We need to take some fight. They notice that 2 heroes on the bottom. They also see 3 on the top. But here's the thing. Both heroes could join either fight. Like, you could recall them. You could teleport. It's just hard for any fight to be taken by Rattlesnake.
Slowly but surely, and this is the way they want to do it. Split push. If you split push, they can't get off their huge 5-man combo. So they park 3 heroes top and 2 heroes bottom, and they work away in both directions, slowly but surely trying to whittle away these towers. The Aegis will check the timer now. About to expire. They may have waited too long to really force this. Now they may have to wait for Roshi number 3. Looks like about 20 to 30 seconds. I mean, maybe a minute at most. No more than that.
Yeah, the 30-second timer just went on. I think it's going to time out right about now. There you go. So...
No, Aegis, do you wait for rush number 3? You're still out farming,
I mean, again, you can't...
Top lane, they've gone in. They found Goblak. He gets picked off. Lamb with the initiation there. The Blink Impale. Beautifully done. And, well, they're finding a kill. It's only a Keeper of the Light, but Quantic, if they're going to play this style, then it's all about maximizing your own gains off the map and minimizing your opponents. You don't want to give up any free kills.
Right, and they did it with that smoke purchase. Type rebuys a smoke. Because they haven't been using those smokes at all. They still have like 2, 3 left in the stash, but they have, you know, bought them all in the hero. The question is, what does Quantic do at this point? Again, they could just slow down and keep playing the game the way as it is.
You've got double scythe. Sakshka has room to grow here. I mean, he still could get a Manta style. You can still get more items on him. But you do get to a point where, sure, you're getting items, but Luo is too. And if Luo gets big enough, he can just kill the entire Chaos Knight army, Illusion army in 1 round of flash.
That's if he gets to attack, which... Yeah. Could be a big if
against double scythe.
Yeah.
There's the reality tether stun. It's all a lot of ifs, maybes right now. It comes down to the initiation, and it might go the way of Lamb. The Blink's there. They do have a tether available on Silent. Can he get out in time? The Gush as well, but he gets safe down the river.
No.
Still they're chasing. Still he's in trouble. Luo on the hunt. I don't know if they want to dive this. Sakshka says, let's fight. BKB's in. Reality's there as well. And now he looks to go with a Phantasm army. But the illusions get back. They're not doing a whole lot. Sakshka still giving as good as he's gotten. Ravage deployed. It actually caught Sakshka right as the BKB ends. The call down as well doesn't matter. Effie mad. Scythe is up on Luo. Now they focus on Luo. They've got to kill this Gyro quick. They haven't. 1 for 1 so far. A profit buyback. Absolute chaos in the river. All of a sudden, though, they find 4 on Rattlesnake. The lone survivor, the Gyro who TPs away. The profit buyback making a big difference there. And this is the thing with the Chaos Knight, Lumi. This guy takes a lot to bring down.
The question is, once that tether went to the Chaos Knight and the Wisp was gone, why do you make that chase? They were very confident in winning that team fight and looked decent for the start, but once those flat cannon charges went down very quickly, the rest of the team show up and Quantic just had more items and the Scythe just went off, and that's a big fight because your TIE Hunter, even when he respawns in 8 seconds, he doesn't have Ravage, so he's more or less useless. And now the 3-second stun goes on Luo and a Scythe follow-up, nothing just yet. There's Scythe number 1, Puckskin has got the Scythe number 2. Where's the Scythe?
Still on the run, yep. 1 more reality, he should be going down, he does. And that's probably the racks here. Buyback from the Gyro. The item progression has been stunted. Still no Ravage. How do you actually fight into this Chaos Knight? He actually backs off. Quantic not forcing the issue here. They've got to know Ravages on cooldown. This is their time to fight. Now they're coming back in. They've got a BKB on the Wisp as well. There is nobody to focus. Nothing to do but die for poor Kabu. In trouble. BKB up on Sakshka. Now heading back the other direction. Once Lamb, a little bit indecisive they've been in terms of focus fire. Now they get back. There's still no Ravage, but the BKB's down. Sakshka maybe gets kited here. Luo trying to duke it out. Luo scythed up. There's the damage. If he dies again, he won't have the buyback. Luo in trouble. Luo to fall. Kabu on the run. And Quantic overwhelming Rattlesnake in game 2. They've struck back. It looks like this one is theirs for the taking, and they feel so confident. They'll dive the fountain. They'll force Rattlesnake to cry uncle and GG out, and GG out they will. 1-1.
If you wonder what a 6-second chain stun looked like, that's what happened to Luo twice in a row. Double Scythe up. He was just a piglet getting railed on by a big dude on a horse. And
that, no comment. You almost made Purge choke. You almost killed Purge with that one, Lumi.
Well,
are you like trying to outdo yourself with this broadcast?
I don't know.
Get it out of your system now, because you ain't doing that in Seattle.
What's wrong with
Kids
what I said?
Kids will be watching. The children. Think of the children.
I'm just saying he's a piglet and he's getting killed by
children. Lumi.
Look. If Valve don't want Piglet Seattle, then they better change that Scythe animation. That's all I'm saying.
That is so not what we're talking about here. All right.
I don't know where your mind is, but
yeah. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Game 2.
On a serious note, though, Quantic, great use of the CK Wisp. They had that one really bad fight mid, but overall, this is how the European teams, the top Western teams, execute CK Wisp. You get your level 6, you outsplit push the enemy team, you pick a strong counter pusher like Keeper of the Light so they can't go 5-man too hard, and you find pickoffs, you slowly out-control them, you gain better map control than them, and you just whittle them down. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Great performance. So I think we'll see a Wisp ban in Game 3.
Yes. So the big thing before I want to hand it back to the analysts, thank you to Vikraman for pointing this out, but Rattlesnake has second pick. They chose to not ban out the Wisp on purpose. Because generally when you have second pick, you always ban out the Wisp.
Yeah.
So the team with the first pick.
They thought they could beat it.
Yeah. They honestly thought they could pick it. They had a strategy prepared. The Tide Hunter perhaps was it.
I think they could have beaten it though. I think
the first two ganks or the first two team fights, if those went well, I think the game would be a lot more even.
I mean, obviously it's not good if your strategy relies a lot on ifs, but if they did it right, I think they could have won. It's just it's very hard to get everything right.
Yep. And
if you don't, CK Wisp punishes
the game
you.
looked a lot more one-sided than to me what actually was. Yeah. So.
With that being said, Purge, Merlini, what went wrong?
Well, that was a pretty one-sided game generally, especially the early game. I thought the first 10 to 15 minutes was heavily in Quantic's favor, and we were like, okay, this game's over. And then it really stagnated for quite a while, but I think Quantic continued to slowly gain more farm, even with that one failed team fight. Their EXP per minute and their GPM kept going up, and for obvious reasons. They have a Nature's Prophet, who just ultis the map and puts constant pressure on. They had a CK plus a Wisp, which really increases his farming speed. He can kill trees and like attack faster. And all their other AoE farmers, like it was just pretty easy win for them, it seemed like.
Yeah, what Rattlesnake needed to do is like not make any mistakes. Their lineup just really counted on executing team fights very well, and they had that one team fight on bottom that was just did not go well for them.
By the tier 2.
Right, by the tier 2, and the two Nick skanks, when as soon as he hit level 6, also didn't. They traded poorly, and then after that, it just all went downhill from there. And they weren't actually strong enough to take team fights because CK got BKB, and their lineup just gets demolished by BKB.
Yeah, everybody got a BKB.
Yeah.
Even had Coddle holding an Ogre Club, he ended up making a Sange, but I mean, I thought Wisp was going to make one. Did Wisp get one by the end? I saw him with an Ogre Club
Wisp
for most of the game.
Like they had the solution. They had a good solution for CK Wisp. It's usually, okay, we'll just drop a call down, Ravage, follow up with an Impale, use Nyx Carapace, and vacuum if we really need to. They had a lot of things to just immediately burst them down, but as soon as they get BKBs, their combo goes down the drain, and they couldn't execute it the couple of times that they really needed to. So I think what really went wrong for them was like the 10 to 20 minute phase of the game, and after that, like Quantic can just slowly wear him down through a split push, and that's where the Wisp comes in, that's where the global push from Furion comes in, and it was just, you could tell that the end was coming. Yeah,
and that's basically the reason why people don't pick Tide very much anymore. It's because he is so hard countered by an item that almost every carry purchases right now, including Gyrocopters, including Lunas, including Dragon Knights. It's like all of those heroes, Tide becomes essentially unnecessary.
And it has travel time too, so like something like Magnus, sometimes you can get RP up before the BKB, but it's pretty hard with Ravage, especially. I mean, he had a good start too.
Yeah,
he got the first blood. He was like really high level for the lane he was given, and everything was like going well for them early. But just a couple mistakes, and it's too hard to come back against that versus good Wisp players.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that Goblik did a fantastic job in that bad team fight for Rattlesnake by the tier 2. He landed like 2 full Coddle Blasts on like 3 heroes.
And
he was already prepared.
Didn't get hit by the
call
cooldown too.
Yeah, it was just really well done by him. He is definitely one of the best Coddle players. Regularly lands. There was even that stat he throws like 22% more Illuminates, and whenever he wasn't defending pushes, he was constantly farming jungles and stacking camps. Like once you get really good at stacking and jungling with Coddle, you could tell he just knew what he was doing, kept his farm up. Did a really good job, honestly.
And he was really wary about that T1 push, too. He knew that the Bane was just sitting there, so he didn't feed a free kill. They gave a free tower, but it could have been worse.
And he held the tier 2. It looked like the tier 2 was going to go down. Blast comes in, clears out all the creeps, and they're like, okay, see you later.
Yeah. But I definitely expect to see a Wisp ban. I mean, we've seen so many like teams like try to do stuff versus Wiz. We've seen like OD and just like Banish kill someone. We've just tried to see Disruptor. We've seen like Gyrocopter just like throw it on a call down where they're about to relocate. But none of these really seem to work just because mistakes are just punished so heavily.
Yeah, so I really like Rattlesnake's draft, but unfortunately for them, it doesn't work out. That's going to put the series at 1-1, which means Quantic has a chance to 3-1, just like I predicted. We'll see if they can do it without Wisp.
I'm still on track as well, by the way. You're gone, right? You were 3-0?
It's okay. I was gone. The two Asians
the Asians are out.
My rares aren't gone,
the white boys are standing strong.
My rares aren't gone, LD. That's what matters.
All right, Blitz is with us. The one self-loving Asian here. We've got a lot of self-loathing. All right, guys. Game 3 is coming up next. The series, it was a best of 5. It's your wildcard play-in match. There's $2.8 million in this event. And, well, only one team has the right to compete for it after today. It was a best of 5. It's now effectively a best of 3. All tied up 1-1. We'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll be live with Game 3. Stay with us.